passage that was shared with you from Mark's Gospel, which says 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, and they went up on a mountain. I think I've been to that mountain. Some scholars say it was Mount Hermon. Who knows? Scholars differ about things like this. But if it was Mount Hermon, then I've been there. I saw it. And the day that I was there was a cloud hanging over the mountain. And it was that eerie, the cloud gave it that eerie, mystical appearance, like God was settling in, just waiting for a group of tourists to climb up there and see Jesus, Elijah, and Moses having that conversation that is shared in Mark's Gospel. Have you noticed in the scripture that up is where people always go when they want to get close to God, when they want to see something wondrous, when they want to hear a message from God, when they want to get closer to the source, I guess, they go up. And up is where Peter, James, and John went with Jesus that day, when suddenly Jesus was transformed before them. Mark says his face was shining, luminescent like the sun. He was changed, he was metamorphosed right in their very presence. And he began to glow with the glory reserved for heavenly beings. And then, like some scene out of the Star Trek transponder room, Moses and Elijah are beamed down to earth. And there the three of them have some kind of a conversation. Peter, James, and John know something big is happening, something way beyond weird is going on. I have to believe that their mouths hung open, that their knees were trembling. And they wondered, what does this mean? Wow, does our rabbi have connections or what? Talk about a spiritual dream team. We've got Moses, the giver of the law. We've got Elijah, who was said to be the forerunner of the Messiah. And then their own rabbi, the Savior of the world. It simply doesn't get any better than that kind of a mountaintop experience. It's at this point when Peter, bless his little heart, leans over and says, Jesus, it's so good that we're here. It's so good that we're here together on this mountain, witnessing this event. And I'm thinking Jesus must have thought, yes, Peter gets it. And it's just then Peter says, dear Peter, Master, it's so good that we're here. I'll build 3 memorials. I'll put up plaques to what we're witnessing here today. But before we judge Peter too harshly, what would you have done had you been there? Peter wanted to put up a marker, and why not? He's all aglow, witnessing his teacher transfigured before him and these 2 superheroes. What would you have done? Freeze-framed it? Put it on YouTube? Taken up an offering? Sold tickets? I don't know. But for one shining moment, that curtain between the past and present and the future doesn't exist. But before Peter can even get out his toolbox and begin the project, a voice booms from the clouds, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him. Listen to him." And then, poof, it's all gone. Jesus is just Jesus again. Elijah and Moses have been beamed back up into heaven. And Jesus then offers comforting words to his friends who are still trembling in fear. Get up, he says, don't be afraid. We've got to go back down the mountain. There are people waiting for us there. There's work to do. There's healings to be tended to, words to share, lessons to teach. Life is waiting back down off the mountain. Let's be about it. We can't spend the rest of our lives up here enjoying the view. There's work to be done. Come on, fellas. And by the way, guys, keep this to yourselves until after I've risen from the dead. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a God moment like that? A glimpse of eternity? A mountaintop faith experience so fleeting that you wonder if it really did happen or maybe you were just dreaming it all up. And yet you're sure that something has happened. Because from that moment on, you are changed. You've been transformed yourself, and nothing from that point on will ever be the same again. Think about the times when you have said, Lord, it's good to be here. What have been those transforming moments in your life? Was it perhaps when you watched your baby emerge into this world and take that first lungful of air and turn from kind of a blue color to a screaming red color? Could there be anything more transforming in your life? Unless maybe it's watching your grandbaby come into the world. Talk about a God moment, the cycle of life coming full circle. How about that moment when the pastor stands before you and holds a loaf of bread and breaks it and said, the body of Christ, broken for you. And for some reason, that particular time, it sounds so different. The body of Christ for you, Dave. The body of Christ for you, Melissa. For you, Barbara. For you, Tom. And you know, you honestly, truly know that Jesus gave his life for you. It might not happen that way again. But from that point on, life is never the same. Maybe it was that time when you were on the edge of the casket looking down at your loved one. Your heart so filled with pain and sorrow. But as you looked, you knew, you honestly knew that he wasn't there. Oh, he was in the room with you. He was present. He was alive, but he wasn't in that casket. And you knew it. These moments when God teases back the curtain for us to peek into eternity and get a glimpse of the glory to come, these moments offer us something to cling to. When we have to come back down off the mountain into reality. And life hits us square in the face. Life is hard. But we know we can go on because, you see, we've been changed. We've been to the mountain, and we know